Hey guys, what's up? Long time no see, at least my face on camera, long time no see. But anyway, I wanted to bring you guys a really fun video. I recently was challenged by my friend Janelle Wilkie, who challenged me to do a new Meet the Artist. So right here is Janelle's drawing where she challenged me, where she drew herself plus her dogs and some fun facts about her. So I did one of these a long time ago, and it's kind of fun to look back and see how different I've become also, because a lot has changed in the last few years. So doing this Meet the Artist challenge was really cool to just kind of compare old self to new self. So the last time I did a Meet the Artist was back in 2017. That was a very long time ago. That was a little bit after I started my channel, because I started my channel in, I think 2016, I think was my first video. And I was a very different person back then. So, you know, let's look at the old one together. So, here's my old Meet the Artist. A lot of things have not changed. My name is still the same. My birthday's still the same nationality. I am still married, and I am an ENFJ. That's still the same. And yes, I am a Cancer sign. In terms of my likes and dislikes, I feel a lot of these are still the same. I love my dogs. I love desserts, drumming, still like Ruby, still all about alternative music. All of these for sure are still the same. In terms of dislikes, yeah, I think it's still the same, but I kind of cringe at some of my answers to these. Like, who puts jerks as their dislike? Like, yeah, I don't like people who are mean, but like, I didn't have to call it out in like HD like that. And then for sure, yeah, not sleeping. That's still pretty consistent. I need my long 8 hours of sleep. And then it's kind of fun to look at my old bag because like, I don't have that laptop anymore. I still have that backpack, but I never use it. And then like my wallet has changed. It's like little things that are fun to see change. And then of course, the big one in the room is like my self-portrait drawing of me is completely different. I cut off all my hair. I stopped wearing contacts. I went all in on glasses because my eyes hated contacts. And I think my style is still kind of the same, but I kind of changed up how I dressed in general. So, you know, it's a little different. Things have changed for sure. So with that, I wanted to do a new Meet the Artist, both because I was challenged and it's been a very long time since I've drawn one and a lot has changed between then and now. And with that too, I put out a call for questions from you guys, both here on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and also in our Discord, where I asked you guys, like, what questions do you have for me? Anything and everything. So I'll be answering those questions throughout this Meet the Artist. Okay, now officially, let's jump into the drawing. All right, let's go ahead and get these questions started while I work on the Meet the Artist drawing in the background. So first off, from Anthony, do you do art full-time or is it a side gig? So technically, it's not my full-time job, but I basically work full-time hours. So I do have a full-time job as a medical labeling designer. And then on the side, I do the art and the comics and everything. And I usually come home almost every day after work and work like 3 to 4 hours most evenings. And then I also work on the weekends to make all the art and everything. So it basically is like another full-time job on top of a 40-hour work week job. Okay, next up is from Milan's. I'm sorry if I butchered your username or if I butcher anyone's usernames. I'm gonna try my best. But anyway, how long have you been a Witcher fan? And if you had a chance to redraw your OC Witcher? I don't know the exact year, but honestly, I became a Witcher fan when Witcher 3 came out. I got the game and I was like, oh, I just want to try this out. It looks cool. I've heard good things about the Witcher franchise. So I jumped into it then and I became hooked. I loved it. I looked up all the art. I like started studying some of their concept art. I've replayed the game partway through the new game plus, but I have like super completed my normal game. I've done so much in the normal game. And I just really like the Witcher fandom and like just the Witcher games and everything in general. I have started the books, but I'm not super far, but I've been wanting to get through the books as well. And then, yeah, I would love to redraw my Witcher OC. So maybe one of these days I can add a little bit more to my design in general. Next up is from Asiago's Places. I really like your username. What do you feel most inspired to draw? So most of the time, at least when I'm doing like random doodles or anything, I know I fall into drawing dragons or monsters. That's usually like the instant thing that I can go to pretty easily. But like in terms of what I've been really inspired to draw recently is I really have been enjoying working on my comic. and making stuff for that, like different designs and characters and other things. Like that's been kind of a big focus of mine and just like super inspiring. But yeah, I would say monsters and comics, probably the top two. And with that, I'm going to go over to Owen's question. So there's a double question here. First off, are you able to give us a Fox Among Hounds update? And then second, are you able to give us a Black Jackal Studios update? So for those of you who don't know, Fox Among Hounds is the comic that I'm working on right now and pitching to publishers. And then Black Jackal Studios is my art studio, where I make my creature compendiums under and basically produce all of my artwork under that LLC studio. So first off, Fox Among Hounds is going pretty well. I'm working on some fun mini side comics that you guys can check out if you want to follow me over on Patreon. You can get those early access comic pages. I've been working on those and posting progress pictures of that. And then the main update is I had a portfolio review during Rose City Comic Con where I got some really helpful feedback on my pages and my pitch. So I've been making the edits and adjustments from this professional comic artist that reviewed my work. And once those are done, I'm going to be taking my pitch to Image and Dark Horse next to see if either of them get back to me. And then in terms of Black Jackal Studios update, right now it's just kind of on the back burner. I really want to get this company going, but I think the big thing is funding right now. So we're making our projects and doing stuff. I mean, we're making like the creature compendium, I'm making the new minifigures, and we're still creating like stuff under the LLC, but we aren't ready to fully go ham into kind of like a full employee basis type of thing, you know. I want it to be there, but right now I have like the business plan, meeting with business advisors and trying to get it started. But as of right now, it's just a planning phase and making projects under it right now. So next up from Lurking NPC is PR for Deadlift. For those of you who might not know, I've been doing some weight training and working on lifting heavy and basically trying to get buff. I've been posting it on my Instagram a lot and showing my progress and like what my workouts are. So just letting you know, that's kind of what I'm doing. But honestly, I haven't really been working on like weights yet for deadlifting. I'm trying to perfect my form and I have a really weak lower back. And I know like deadlifts don't only target the lower back. It's mostly for like the legs and the glutes and such, but it always hits my lower back. So I've just been trying to be careful on my deadlifts. But I can tell you my PR for my chest press, I'm pretty proud of that. Right now I'm at, I think I'm at 3 at 110. That's like my best personal record right now. So I'm getting pretty heavy on the chest presses and my bicep curls and everything are going up, but I'm taking my time on deadlifts. I'm just trying to get better at the form so I don't hurt my back. Okay, next up from Scorching Shadow is if you could redraw any of your 100 dragons, what would it be? So this one is a little difficult. I'm quickly browsing my list of 100 dragons, but the first one that comes to mind is I think it was the Taurus dragon from the Celestial Zodiac. That one still haunts me. That's a major one that I'm like, I kind of wish I could go back and redo it because it ended up being more of like a Shadow of the Colossus thing rather than like an actual dragon. So I think that one is pretty high on the list of like redraws. And then I think the other one that is a close follow-up is the Snail Dragon. That one is like episode 14. I think that one I could have pushed the dragon a little bit more and did a little less snail. So I'd say those two are probably kind of tied for the redraw. Okay, so next up from Alan Animations is what is your favorite ever collab with another YouTuber? That one is really hard because I've done a lot of fun collabs and I feel like that's like picking from like favorite friends, you know? Like I have a couple like close personal friends that we've done really fun collabs and like a couple people we've met through the community. And then of course, like I got the opportunity to work with some really awesome and amazing, like bigger YouTubers. It's just been really cool. It's all been a really cool experience. But it's hard to say what's my favorite. I know this is kind of copping out, but I don't know if I want to pick a favorite. Cause like it was great. Casey Golden's was really fun in terms of like shipping each other things. That one was a fun, challenging collab. That one was really fun, and we like really were like shooting the shit through that whole thing and just became really good friends after that collab. It was just great. I was a little disappointed because that was like maybe a year into my channel, 2 years. No, it was about like 2 to 3 years into my channel existing. I did not have a good camera setup, and I didn't realize it until I had already recorded the entire art piece. And that was when I was like trying to do a video a week, and I'm like, well, this has to go up. I can't redraw it. So I kind of wish I did that one a little better, but that one was really fun in terms of like shipping fun things to each other. And then of course, working with Jazza was super fun. He's an awesome guy, and it was just great doing like a collab with him. And then I have a bunch of close personal friends, like Echo is great, and like Trix. I also have like Ian and my friends over at Subculture Recall. Like, there's just too many people to list. I've done so many fun things on this YouTube channel and collaborated with so many fun people that it's hard to like be like, yeah, this one is the top one, because they all have all their fun positives. Then from Ginger Jedi, do you have a personal favorite art piece and or video? Okay, so in terms of my favorite video, I think one of my favorite videos is actually the steampunk dragon from the 100 Dragon Challenge. I ended up losing a lot of the recording and I basically made a whole dumb skit about it. If you haven't seen it, go watch the steampunk dragon, because like oh my gosh, shooting the skit that was in that video was so much fun. So that for sure is probably one of my top favorites, just because like I love thinking back to that and like how my friends were over and helping me record this dumb skit. It was just, it was a great time. And then in terms of my favorite art piece, I feel it's changing like every day, because like every time I draw something new, I'm like kind of impressed by like little level ups that are happening like within my art. So I know one of my new favorite art pieces was from when I met Travis Baldry at Rose City Comic Con. I did a Legends and Lattes fan art. I just was really happy with how that one turned out. So that's probably a new recent favorite. But yeah, I think currently my favorite art piece is torn between that Travis Baldry one and the artwork I ended up doing for my Avatar Studios submission. I really loved how that all turned out for my portfolio, and I was very proud I was able to do that so quickly. And then to follow up with that, I'm going to follow with Casey Golden's question of, I want to see your favorite piece and least favorite piece of art you've made and why. So actually, with reading this question from Casey, I just realized I totally forgot about another art piece I did recently that I was really proud of, and that was my little Fox Among Hounds character introduction animation. It took me months to finish this. Like, I don't even remember when I started it, but I think I was working on it on and off for like 4 to 5 months. It was a very long time, probably closer to 4. But I was super proud of how it turned out. I barely animated, and I was just so impressed that I was able to like pull it off in general. And then it's just so cool because like I love seeing my characters like moving and like alive. Like, I feel they already come alive on the page, but like this was just awesome. So I think that's my favorite piece. And then for my least favorite piece, this one's a little hard because like I could easily just go back and rag on my younger self, because I have a lot of fun cringe art on DeviantArt, and that's where my brain goes. I'm like, okay, yeah, that like super cringe. I could totally just like go straight into that. But I think the one I'm going to highlight, at least within recent years, I wasn't really a fan of how my Inktober 2018 turned out. It's hard because like I'm proud of myself for doing it, and there's certain aspects that I do like and certain characters that I drew on it that I liked. But like looking back, I just remember like rushing this. I didn't really utilize the paper the way I like wanted to. And I think this was just at a point in like my art journey where I wasn't really like at the level that I needed to be to complete the piece how it was in my brain, if that makes sense. So like I said, it was like a great growing opportunity, and I learned a lot from doing it, but I think it could have been so much stronger if I was just at like a higher art level. Like if I did the Inktober 2018 piece now, I think it would turn out much different. Obviously, because that's like multiple years of difference of practice. But yeah, I'm just not really a fan of how it felt like I rushed it and I didn't really take my time on it. There's a lot of things I just don't really like about it. And then from CJ Scarlett, how do you start the process of creating art? Do you have a set routine, or is it just when inspiration hits? So yes, I actually have been wanting to make a video about this for a while, and then you guys can let me know down in the comments if this does still sound interesting. But I ended up making art like a habit. There was a really cool video by Bernie Burns from Rooster Teeth where he talks about you can't wait for inspiration to strike. You have to make creation and being creative more of a habit. Because if you wait for inspiration to strike or the perfect timing, you won't ever make anything. So you just kind of have to slowly make a habit out of creating art. So at least for me, like my process of creating art specifically for like YouTube or a thing that I need to do, I live by my Google Calendar. Like I have everything planned out each month. Like at the end of every month, I take a day and I plan how I'm going to execute the month, when I'm going to draw certain things, what videos I want to release, and just realistically what I want to get done in the month. And then I also put it on a whiteboard in my office so I can see like the checklist of what I would like to get done. But I also don't hold myself to as strict of standards as I used to, because I'm trying to also explore more like making my comic and other things. So I'm just kind of putting what I would like to do each month up on the board or in my Google Calendar and kind of playing it by ear. But yeah, like I've been working really hard to make it a habit, and it's basically become that. I usually draw at least 3 times a week, usually at least in terms of like longer drawing sessions. And I doodle throughout the week as well. Like I do smaller drawings, but I have like a full sit down drawing session at least 3 times a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. And then the other days I'm either editing videos, managing some store orders, prepping for Comic-Con, doing all this other business side stuff and administrative stuff. So yeah, that's basically what I do. And that's why I live by my calendar. Cause like, I'm like, okay, on Tuesday, I'll do this admin work. And then on Wednesday, I'll sit down and finish drawing the 100 Dragon Challenge for next week. You know, it's basically like that. So yeah, that's kind of my process. It's a little hard to get into and get started with it. But yeah, I'd love to do like a bigger video if you guys are interested. I would love to like break down what I do and like how I stay on top of things on top of my day job. But let me know what you think and if you'd like to see that. Next up from Dr. Luzus. In the years you've been doing art, has your flame of creativity, motivation, or creation stayed the same, or would you say it has achieved levels you didn't expect? So this kind of ties in with the last one too. In terms of like creative flame, having my fun, I guess, side projects has really kept it ignited. Because like when you just do the same thing over and over, or you don't have like a fun passion project, it's really easy to lose that motivation and drive to create a thing. So like I love working on Fox Among Hounds. It's probably like my main creative boost right now. And for sure, like doing that project has made me achieve those higher levels. Cause like I did do a comic in college and I did do other side projects, but I have never been so gung-ho and passionate about a project in a long time as like Fox Among Hounds. I think the closest thing to the current inspiration of Fox Among Hounds is the Creature Compendiums, because I absolutely love making those books as well. So I would say like the first Creature Compendium and current work on the second one are also just such a fun side project. So yeah, all those little side projects have really helped me keep that flame of creativity going. And then I also really live by, I need to fill my creative bank. So when you're creating, you got to make sure to inject like creativity back into your brain so then you can expel it out into your art again. So like watching movies, going out into nature, playing video games, like absorbing any other content or inspiration from the outside world will help you stay creative as well. Next up from Asa, thoughts on continuing with Copics versus a cheaper alternative like a Hoo-Hoo. So yes, I will be finishing the 100 Dragon Challenge with my Copic markers or Copic markers. Because I have a larger range of colors. I do really like the Hoo-Hoo markers and the ones they sent me to try. But sadly, I just don't have enough colors and I don't have the income right now to justify buying a bunch of new colors. So at least right now I'm sticking with Copics because it's what I have. It's what I have in stock and I don't need to go buy a bunch of new markers. But if you guys are interested in getting into markers, Hoo-Hoos were really solid. I did like them. Next up from Kamna or Sleepy. The ultimate question, how many squirrels could you fight before you get overwhelmed? That's a hard question to answer because I've never fought a squirrel, but I assume, just thinking about it, I could probably take on 4 before I got overwhelmed. Because if they were legitimately swarming me and biting me, if I had like 1 on each limb, it might be a little hard to like kick them off or get them off of me. So I think anything over 5 might be a little much. Next from Nightmare Merchant, what do you think makes an art piece more uncanny or eerie than normal? What makes you feel uncomfortable about an artwork? So I would say having extra gross detailing makes things a little bit more uncanny and eerie, like adding extra skin folds or extra teeth, or even like teeth where they shouldn't be, or like extra fingers or tendrils in places that are like uncomfortable to us. So like maybe having like the ribs turn into like external fingers or teeth or things are like a really cool way to make it extra eerie and odd. And then with that, I think also pushing like the extremes of certain things. Like one of the things that I think of is I get really creeped out by like the giant mouth characters, like in The Grudge or other things, like where they just have the giant dark void of a mouth. Ooh, I don't like that. So like think about that and like pushing certain things to extremes. And then another great thing is to make it like unperceivable. So having that dark void of a mouth is like kind of creepy, and just like looks like it's like an endless dark hole. So it's like things like that could be interesting to like push to extremes. So that's what I would recommend if you want to make something uncanny or eerie or just kind of unnatural. From Samuel Pierce, are there any particular types of art you wish you could do but don't think you have the skills to pull it off? E.g. mecha, automotive, etc. Yeah, so I for sure, like you hit 2 of them right there. Mechas and cars are very difficult. I really would like to get better at them, but I don't know. I just don't have the, I guess, technical skill right now. I feel like I'm much more of an organic artist than like a, I guess, mecha or non-organic artist. So yeah, mechas, automotives are hard. And then I think one big one that I'm trying to work on is like backgrounds. I would love to be able to draw really cool rendered buildings. I feel like I can get like a scene drawn pretty well, and just like a general building I'm pretty okay at. But seeing some of the comic artists I follow, I'm like, man, I'd love to build like a building just like that with a cool roof and like all this. So I'm working on it. That's another thing I just really want to improve on. So next up from Evie Dreams, do you have any plans for after the 100 Dragon Challenge, such as using another mythical or cryptid or real animal, even using humans? So at least right now, I don't have another 100-something challenge planned. I would like to get into some other series, like I was thinking about getting back into the Monsters and Moments and other things. But at least right now, I don't have any solid plans for the future. I'm thinking about changing a couple things about YouTube in 2024. So I'm not trying to make any super solid plans about new series, but I think I'd like to explore maybe some of the old series that we haven't visited in a long time. Like maybe the Pokemon or the like the Monsters and Moments, something like that. And then for Moo, who is your latest TTRPG, tabletop roleplay game character? So at least my latest one is the one for my podcast, the Roaring D20s podcast. I play basically a self-insert me as a tiefling collecting the monsters for my Creature Compendium books. So if you haven't checked out this podcast, it's called the Roaring D20s. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. It's like everywhere. You can find it basically on any platform. So at least that's been my most recent, especially because here in season 3, my character gets a very different like upgrade. So that's been my most recent playable character. But outside of that, I did do a one-shot where I played an orc barbarian in like a steampunk type of train heist, train murder, like whodunit type of thing. And like it was like a whodunit. Plus we had to get We had to find this guy that was captive on the train to get information out of him. It was really fun. There was a lot of different things in like each train car. And the group I played with, we were just a lot of very fun one-shot characters. Next up from Spino Knight, what keeps you going through difficult times and hardships as a creative? This one is for sure a hard one to answer because I have some very low days. They come and go, and that's another reason why I'm going to like therapy. I'm trying to figure it out too, because it's hard to be a creative, especially when you have certain dreams or lofty goals and things aren't happening the way you were thinking they would, or different life things get thrown into the mix, like having like depression or any other mental things that could be also impeding your creativity. It's hard. It's really hard to navigate that and, you know, navigate life in general. But I think for me, what helps me through the difficult times and hardships as like being a creative and wanting to make creative things is not beating myself up for not creating art. I've been becoming a little bit more kinder to myself. Some weeks are a little easier than others, but I used to be like really harsh to myself about like not creating every day or not doing something every day. But I've been learning, especially after COVID and working my tail off for the years during that I really missed being with friends and actually like enjoying other aspects of my life. So hanging out with friends, you know, hanging out with my husband, watching movies, playing video games, going on walks with my dogs. Like there was a while where I just like lived in this office and I would just create, but I felt miserable and like depressed and I couldn't figure out why. But doing those outside things and filling your creative bank, I feel really helps with driving that creativity. And then also, like I said in a previous answer, having like that side project to get you motivated is great. I really like having something that I'm super passionate about, and like picking a side project that will always spark like the creative side in me is great. Like I recently did a huge like beard study for one of my characters. And like, if I did that with just like, if I treated it like a school project and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to draw this guy with like 30 different beards, like, yeah, I would have found it very boring and sad. But since it was like a character and something that I loved and like it came from something I'm so passionate about, I had a blast just drawing random beards and goatees and mustaches. So it's kind of a combo of finding something you're really passionate about that you'll get excited to work on, and then also just be kinder to yourself and find something to help, you know, fill your heart and keep you going. But yeah, I know creatives, I think we're always harshest on ourselves, especially when we tie our worth to our work and we're not doing work, you know? So yeah, be kind to yourself. So from Griffin14, what do you find is the most satisfying part of the process when you are doing art? Ooh, that's hard. I would say doing the line art. I've always really loved doing line art, and getting it to that stage, it's like kind of like when you get a freshly baked cake. It's like when you open the oven after it's been sitting there for a while and you get that first like hit of like the sweet aroma and you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this cake. That's like the line art for me. It's like just the right amount of like, it's making me excited to see something that's almost done and that I can like basically just taste, right? And then of course having the art finished and like I get to show it to you guys or to family or friends, like that's always super fun. Like the end process is great. So yeah, I think it's hard because like I think the most satisfying is a tie between line art and like it's actually done. So next from Eerie Faye is, why are you such a goofy goober? Just how I am, you know, just kind of a goof, and there's just floof between these ears, so that helps with making me super goofy. Next from Chanzilla Art, where do you have your art panels in case anyone wants to meet you in person? So I actually have all of my events listed on my website. So if you go to KatelynMcCaigue.com, there's a tab at the top for events, and I list my conventions that are happening every year. It's currently only showing the stuff for 2023, but as soon as January 2024 comes around, I will be updating it and adding the different conventions I'll be going to this year. And it's not guaranteed that I'll have a panel at all of these, but I do mention like I will be there for maybe a panel or a booth, like if there's a difference. But most of the ones on my websites are Artist Alley tables. And then from Janella Wilkie, I already know everything about you with very sus eyes. Well, maybe you learned something new here, and maybe you guys did too. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to reply to this one. It's got me flustered. Anyway, so here is the final Meet the Artist drawing. I was really happy with how this turned out. I tried to also kind of play more towards like my actual body shape because I don't know, I'm trying to like myself a little more. So I was like, I'm going to try to draw me closer to me. But yeah, I did a little party menu on the left with my pets and my husband. And then I also did some likes, and I really liked the bucket list idea of putting things that I want to achieve in my life, like where I want to travel, what I want to do with my career. And then I've always liked the what's in your bag type of thing. So I had to do it again and kind of do an updated look inside my bag. Thanks again, guys, for sending in so many fun, different questions. I really had a blast answering all of these, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question in today's video, but thank you for submitting them, guys. This was really great, and it was kind of fun to connect with you guys over these questions. And thanks, Chanel, for challenging me to do this Meet the Artist. It was really fun doing just a fun refresh of this and like kind of redrawing myself. I've done like little self-portraits here and there for a while now, but this was nice to like fully explore like a brand new full body self-portrait. But either way, thanks again, guys, so much for stopping by and checking out this video. And if you aren't already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, join our little community of, you know, creatives. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening along to the answers to a lot of these questions. And I hope you enjoyed watching the process of making this Meet the Artist drawing. But either way, thank you guys again so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.